these are what I consider to be the best apps for screencasting in 2023. I'm Eric. I'm a graduate student studying education technology as part of a doctoral program at Liberty University, and I've prepared this as part of my coursework in EDUC 633. If you're a teacher like me, screencasting was a huge part of your instructional practice during COVID and virtual teaching. I know it was for me when I was teaching virtual chemistry courses back in 2020. You may not have used screencasting apps quite as much since then, and a few things have changed. So, without further ado, here's my top picks for screencasting software in 2023. They are Loom, Screencastify, and QuickTime, which you may not have heard of. So why use screencasts? Well, back during 2020, probably we were doing a lot of those for instruction, but you can also use screencasts to great effect for feedback. Fang and Wickersham Fish in the 2020 study showed enormous potential and a lot of great feedback from students when they got feedback from their teachers as screencasts. Instructors would do screencasts of their grading process and just give audio and video feedback in the grading process. Students loved it. It's a great way to use screencasts in education. Furthermore, if you're doing recordings, doing screencasts, and capturing quality audio, a study by Chia in 2019 shows captions are great for everyone, not just the deaf or the hard of hearing or those who speak another language, but also for regular hearing students. Offering captions really helped students in this study have a better perception of the work that they were doing, especially when it was highly technical or complex language. Being able to hear it, being able to see it in captions was really wonderful and helpful for them. Where are your screencasts going to go? There's great tools available to educators like Edpuzzle and YouTube. High quality lessons where screencasts can be hosted and reach more learners than we can ever reach in person in the classroom. So here's my first pick for screencasting. It's Loom. Let's have a look at what it can do. So first off, you see that you're seeing my screen and you're also seeing me. This is picking up input from my camera. Loom tends to do this little bubble shape here. Others will do a square stuff. Loom tends to do it this way. You can change that. You can add blur. You can change the background, do some other effects if you'd like. Main features though, record audio and video from your browser, your webcam, or your desktop like you see me doing here. Two ways to install this. You can run it as a Chrome extension or download the desktop app. I find the desktop app works just a little bit better, a little bit smoother. If you want to edit and share your videos, that needs to be done from the web. Great use for Loom, quick how-to videos, just showing what's on your screen and getting a shareable link to where someone else can watch that. The web version, like I'll show you in a moment, lets you see various tracking metrics. Did someone watch your video or not? You can see every time it gets clicked and every time it gets watched. Good to know though, this will not work without an internet connection. So if you have a weak connection or no connection at all, no Loom for you. It streams and saves to Loom servers, so it is internet dependent. Killer feature though for Loom, automatic captioning. Great for making your videos accessible to everyone. Who can use it? Well, anyone can sign up for free. The limited free version, you can get about 5 minutes if you're a non-educator, 5-minute recording length for an unlimited number of videos. If you do sign up and get the education version, most of those restrictions are lifted. My district buys the full enterprise version, so any of us can use it and any of its features. Otherwise, educators, if you're getting this independently, you can get Loom with most of its features for free. $12.50 a month, though, for everybody else. One drawback, one limitation, this is not FERPA-COPA approved, so you can't directly use this with students if you're an educator, at least not in my district, and it's likely true for many other districts as well. So if you want to use Loom, you want to use the screencasts, great, go ahead and make it. Just make sure you download that and if you want to use it with students. Also, don't use it to record anything that uses or would display student data because it's going to go to Loom's servers the way it records, and that's a potential FERPA or COPA violation. Let's see what this looks like though on the web. Here you go. Here's the Loom interface on the web, and you can see these different videos that are in my library. If I go and click on one of these other ones I've done before, like this one I made for a parent open house, you see what it looks like, and this is where I could go and edit it and change the sharing permissions. And like I mentioned before, there's that transcript. Automatic captioning ready to go, making it accessible to all users. There you go. That's Loom. All right, next up it's Screencastify, which we're recording in Screencastify. Something Loom didn't really have, or at least doesn't make as easy to use, different annotation features, things I can use during instruction to draw attention to and highlight my content in slides. Very similar to Loom, many of the same feature sets with a couple differences. Record audio and video from your browser, webcam, and desktop, and a special standout feature, make and export GIFs. Great for making short instructional segments like steps for how to log in or use a new piece of software. Great with younger students. This only works as a Chrome extension. You cannot run this as a separate piece of software on your desktop like you could with Loom. So got to use Chrome, got to download it, got to use it as an extension. Same as Loom, edit and share your videos from the web. Great for instructional media recording. Caveat, this will work without an internet connection, but it needs to save to Google Drive. So that's great if you need to retain control of your media, need to save and store it in a secure way in accordance with various internet privacy laws like FERPA and COPA. But it's going to be hard to retrieve that if you try to do it in an offline mode because it's going to want to save it to Google Drive there. Powerful online editing tools using their online editor, much more sophisticated than what Loom will let you do. You can add and subtract from the ends of your clip, that's trimming. You can cut and split and recombine various clips into one long segment for export, add titles, transitions, you name it. Powerful online editing. But no automatic captioning, unfortunately. Loom does that automatically. Not really an option with Screencastify. You can add captions if you want to type them in yourself, but no automatic captioning yet. Free versions available to anyone, educators included. If you want to pay for the more advanced features, that's $7 to $10 a month. What kind of advanced features? Well, Screencastify integrates seamlessly with Google Classroom. So if you want to track which students have watched various portions of your instructional media, you can track that with the Google Classroom integration, but that's a paid feature. All right, and here's my number 3 pick. It's QuickTime. And probably the best thing here is this is a great option for offline screencasting. You don't need a web-based piece of software or an add-on to do this. So if you've got a Mac, QuickTime comes pre-installed. You can record audio and video from your browser, your webcam, other cameras, the desktop, and screens from connected devices. More on that in a second. This is free. It's native as a Mac OS app, pre-installed on all Apple computers. And like I've already mentioned here, offline recording. You can do this without an internet connection. I'm really loving this as far as not having to have a web connection. Don't really have great connection and service where I work at in my school building. So when I want to do recordings from my Mac, this is a great option. Limitations, this is Mac OS only. You can buy a version of QuickTime that works on Windows, but it doesn't do actual screen recording. It'll do just playback in the Windows version. This will create very large high-resolution files at high frame rates, so they look great, awesome to use for tutorials and whatnot, but you may have to compress them for web viewing later on. Not a whole lot as far as editing abilities. Loom and Screencastify had great web editors for trimming and adding other elements. Really here with QuickTime, all you can do is trim up the ends, cut a bit off the front, cut a bit off the end, save it and export it. Really not much beyond that. So if you need to do further editing, that would need to happen in other software like iMovie, Final Cut, or Adobe Premiere. What I really love about QuickTime, and what I alluded to earlier, is that it's going to record anything on the screen of my Mac. So if I've got a connected device, like an iPad or something, I can cast that to my Mac, which you can record here. So here's an example of something I've done with my chemistry students. I could do live annotations with a pen and go through some of these practice problems, like writing the formula for sulfur hexafluoride, which would be SF6. And when I'm all done, just exit out. Just like that. That's QuickTime. It's the best. Probably for most educators, they're going to go with Screencastify. It's got powerful web editing. Their free tier lets you do just about anything you'd want to do. And their commitment to student information privacy with their FERPA and COPA compliance makes this a great option for educators, especially those working in K-12. If you're working in the business world, Looms might be your best bet. Very, very simple, very straightforward. It's easy to share your screencasts, no monkeying around with trying to upload or download from Google Drive. It just streams and stores to the web, easy to share and easy to track viewing data within your organization. What if you want to do something a little bit more, a little bit extra? If you've got a Mac and you want to connect other accessories like special cameras or perhaps other inputs like an iPad, this is a great option if you just need some basic screencasting and even if you want to work offline. Thank you. I'll take questions or comments via email if you have them. And here's the references.